Please Buy video, and this one's a little bit different insofar as we're looking at a Sony C20, and this machine was bought off eBay, local collection, which turned out to be about 40 miles away, but yeah, it just seemed a fairly genuine machine. I think it's from an estate, basically. The seller is selling a lot of items, retro kit and various bits and bobs, which looks as if it's from a house clearance. So I hope that this is actually going to be pretty tidy, and as a result what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually make this video a bit of maybe a masterclass, is that the right way to put it, of how to recommission one of these machines, make them reliable, all the tests and checks you need to do, and also a few tips and tricks to make sure that they run properly when they don't. So with that, let's crack on. So before I turn it on, I'm going to check the machine itself, but before I even do that, I'm going to check the plug. So the usual, what's the fuse? Well, it's a 5 amp fuse, so that's not too bad. Cable probably would be rated at 5 amps to be fair, probably. Although really it should be a 3 amp. So yeah, anyway, because this is an unshrouded mains pins plug, I'm going to change this for one that has shrouded pins just for safety, and obviously no earth, but yeah, so we'll get and do that next. Also just checking the mains cable itself for any damage, so I've done that, so that's good. So yeah, let's crack on. Plug's on, all good to go. So next thing is to remove the top and have a look at what we're dealing with. And it actually looks pretty genuine. Lots of dust, which is fine. Can't see any real issues. I mean, this just seems fairly genuine. A bit worried about what that is. This looks a bit like, I think it's just what's fallen through the grill. Oh, it's flowers. It's flower petals. See down there, there's a flower petal. I was just worried it might have been something from a capacitor or something going pop. But yeah, no, that's all looking good. Let's have a look at the drum. See, there's some significant wear. It's not terrible. I mean, on the camera it looks really shiny. In fact, it is actually fairly shiny. But yeah, we'll have a look at that. Checking the pinch roller. Good run on. It does look like a fairly high hours machine, to be fair. But that doesn't mean it's bad. So yeah, check the spools. No cracking. And if you run this backwards, you can test the motor. So the motor's not dragging, so it can't be that high hours. But yeah, so I suppose better plug it in and see what happens. So it's powered on, good start. One thing I noticed is this button is not wonderful. It looks like the plastic has given way on the top of it there, so we'll fix that. Because this is a non-remote machine, so being a C20, I will change all of these buttons. Even if they're okay, I will change them, because basically if these buttons do start to go, and they do go, we are basically without any tape transport options. So I'll change those. The rest of these tend to be fine. They don't have so many presses in their life. So obviously these don't matter at all, really. But yeah, so let's put a tape in. I'm using a relatively good tape, the good old Brit Awards tape. Oh, that's slow. So yeah. Yeah, you can see the buttons are not good. But stop works, which is always good, because pressing stop bit of slap there. That's fine. See if we can wind it forward again. This is rattling. Not uncommon on these. So let's play. And it doesn't look like we have anything. Oh. So gentle finger press on the tape. So how I do that, this isn't recommended, by the way, but just while the tape's playing, just gently press, very, very gently, and it just flicks off any dirt. So yeah, that's playing, and let's try the tracking. It's actually really good. So I won't put the sound on because I'll get a, oh well, let's briefly put the sound on. So I'm going to be mindful of, yeah, there's muck being pulled through there. Not ideal. So yeah, but it needs a service, we know that, and yeah, that's fair enough. So, but a good start. It's playing, and it's playing from cold, and we'll cover why I've said that in this video. A few caps to change that can cause problems. So that's really quite encouraging. So let's press stop and press, if we can, eject. This is really slow. Oh, I think it needs a re-grease. So we'll do that as well. But yeah, overall, a really good machine. So the first job I'm going to do is actually to free up this loading mechanism. And it's really important. If these are sluggish, you really need to get these serviced, because if you don't, what will happen is invariably the center gear will split. So let's get this apart. I'm trying to do this so you can see what I'm doing. So take off the slack. Just move that belt out the way for the front loading system. Then we're going to take the clip off, and this can be a bit of a fiddle. Literally just put the blade of the screwdriver underneath it, lift it off. Lift off the top, and gosh, they're solid. Wow. Okay, so what I'm going to do, get some silicone grease, and I'm just going to very carefully put just a tiny bit, he says. I mean, that's fine. But usually I'd like to be a bit more controlled about doing this. No, I like the silicone grease because it does actually, to an extent, help preserve the plastics. Yeah, you see now. They're moving. They were very, very seized. I start to really feel them. Yeah, they're freeing up now. Let's try to do this so I don't get too much in the way. Let's just run it like that. Well, that's feeling better. It's still very stiff for my liking, but it's running in. But yes, this center gear will crack if there's too much stress put on the whole assembly. Really, this gear will crack, and then there's just no drive. So definitely worth lubricating that top section, and I would do that. I mean, in every machine I've worked on, I always do that, regardless, even if it's running relatively okay. I do give it some lubrication, not maybe quite that much lubrication, but yeah, so definitely worth doing. Yeah, that's feeling so much better. Let's just run that. A little bit. Oh, popped off. But it does still feel quite laboured. So I wonder what else is going on underneath this. So what we'll do is take off the whole assembly, and we'll take a look at it and see what's going on. So let's pop on the clip. Bit of a hair off a brush, that looks like. So there we go. So let's take this off. You see that's just sprung a bit. Sprung off. So just remove the spring off there. It just unhooks. If you're sort of careful, it unhooks actually really easily. Just checking the solenoid there. That's fine. Actually doesn't feel too bad. It's like the grease has started really running in. Let's take this off anyway, because we want to check the gear at the base of this assembly. It actually is a common failure point, and they have a nasty tendency to crack. So I'll just show you that, and we'll just check it as well, because we want this deck to be 100% reliable, or as reliable as we can make it, given its age. So now there is actually a cable clip. Okay, so yeah, to snip, very carefully snip. The cable tie, cutting the cables. There's also a little metal cable tie. To be fair, I usually remove this because it makes it so much easier to get in to do this, but maybe we have decided to go the hard route. And I should be able to get it with the screwdriver. And we'll push it back down when we do the power supply, or after we've done the power supply. So that comes out. And so we've got enough to pull this out. So you can actually see that started cracking. It's this gear here we're looking at, and you can see quite clearly there the crack. So this is a 711B chassis, and this is used on the C20, which is this, C30, which is this with the remote control added, and C40, which is this with a C30 with linear stereo. Then the C80, which is the machine that has a fantastic remote control and amazing programming capabilities for time shift recording, and also decks such as the HF100 stereo deck, hi-fi stereo deck, which is a firm favourite with me, he says. Absolutely great machine when they're working, and when they're done properly, which I seem to be getting really quite good at now. But of course we have got that HF100 from the last series of HF100 videos to sort out still, and I have just left it, partly because I've been so busy, but also partly because it's going to take so much time to get that machine spot on. It's I've just not got the time, and I want to be doing stuff to actually clear out some space. I'm running out of space, and so I need to get things done. I've got repairs to do for people as well. So yeah, you've got to cut your cloth, haven't you? And yeah, so that's all nice and clean and tidy. So looking down here, the actual lacing mechanism is good. There's not really much resistance, it's fine. I'm not knocking this out of alignment, in case you're wondering. I do like decks to be as clean as they possibly can, giving them a fighting chance of not having issues in the future. The capstan, you probably can just about see that. The capstan is actually really very, very good. Doesn't need cleaning at all, so that's great. So So let's see if I can do this without spraying a whole load of rubbish everywhere. Perfect. So, immediately that's better. Yeah, that's feeling much freer. Super. Okay, so I'll feed some glue into this. Oh, there we go. Is that cracked? Yeah, it's cracked. Okay. So I won't feed some glue into there. What I'll do is I'll replace the gear. That didn't take much effort. So, yeah. So, new gear. This is the same type of gear that I use for the C9 front loading system as well. And literally, it just pops on. So the only downside, and I've mentioned this before with these gears, is that the original gear is flattened off at the end, so this doesn't slide off. You see that moves, and of course this doesn't have that sort of flattened off end, so this will try and fall off. Now that isn't a problem until you actually try and take it apart, put it back together. You just have to be aware that this is going to drop, but otherwise it's fine. It's no problem at all. I've not had any issue at all with doing it this way. So let's take that off. So let's push that on. So you can see there, that's fine. And that will go down there. And although it's quite a bit shorter, it's perfect. You can see it's making full contact with the gear, no problem at all. So let's take that off. Now I do use Gorilla Glue gel. It really is perfect for this. I leave it as well for 24 hours to really soak in. Obviously be careful, because if you get it down into the bearing there, things are going to go badly wrong. So there we go. And then what do I do with the gear? There it is. Too much on there. So yeah, I put a little bit too much glue on, but we should get away with that. What I do is I just turn the gear slowly. And then just leave it, and that should form a nice, good, strong so just push it down as far as it will go. A nice strong bond. So that's all done and working well. And I was a little bit worried actually on the gap that I'd left. I'll get it to focus here, but it's actually perfectly fine. It's not going to go anywhere anyway because obviously you've got the gear here keeping it captive. You can see that falls off. Yeah, there's plenty of contact, and yeah, it's absolutely fine. So yeah, let's get it back together. Let's get that gear out. And yeah, we'll be able to hopefully give it a test. So let's put that back on. So I'm just holding that gear in place so it doesn't fall down or fall out. Keeps in position. That's great. Yep, that's it. That's on. So you have to give it a bit of a jiggle just to get it so it properly sits on the loading rings. And yeah, so I'll screw that down and we'll take it from there. Okay, so I have actually done this over several sessions, and in the meantime I've done the HF100, which came out, if everything goes to plan, that came out last week. So yeah, but as a result I nearly lost some of the screws. I was planning to sort of get this sort of done all in one go, and didn't. Still not quite sitting right. That's looking better. Probably would have helped if I hadn't moved it. Since putting it in where it should go. And let's tighten those up by hand. Whoops. That's feeling really good. Excellent. So, put all of this back together, which I always get wrong somehow, or think it goes a different way to how it actually does go. I always find these so difficult. I've got it the wrong way now. It's one of those weird things, I suppose. And that goes that way. So, like so. I think that's right. So, tensioning arm there. The bit that goes into the solenoid. This side of the solenoid. And spring. And make sure the plastic, which you can't really see, the plastic needs to go the other side of this. And we are good to go. And I don't think I've lost the screws for that. Should be able to let that go. There we go. So that's all good, I think. Yeah, there we go. And put the belt back on. tension it. You just want to take the tension off it. You don't need it tight. Just needs to just be tight enough. And with the screw, don't over tighten it as well, because this plastic is fragile. It just needs enough to stop it moving. You don't need to sort of tension that too much. So there we go. So what I'm going to do now is power this on. We already know that it's pretty good from cold, but just really see if the deck is actually any better with its running. Seems to be all okay. So yeah, let's give it a go. Powered on. So let's take it out of standby. That's fairly encouraging. It still seems quite slow, doesn't it? And the buttons obviously still need doing. Ooh. It does actually seem to be getting better as the grease runs in. Oh, these buttons. Yeah, that's fine now. I'm happy with that. Still slightly laboured, but I think with use it will be fine. Once more pull up. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that, to be honest. It's only going to get better. So, oh, that's far better. I know I said once more, but let's just check that eject. That's fine. Okay, so that's great. So quite a lot done. I'm conscious this video is getting quite long, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this a 2-part, maybe even a 3-part video. I think probably 2-part. We'll see. Next part will be power supply issues and just making sure that's reliable. Hall effect, which I've shown in many videos in the past, but I'll just do a brief bit on that and other bits and pieces on these. So yeah, with that, thank you very much for watching, and please like and subscribe. It really does mean a lot to me, and I really appreciate it as well. And comment as well, and if there's anything you want me to do on the channel and anything you'd like to see, let me know, including different machines and also just sort of any of the sort of alignment or setup or whatever else. I mean, I hope to do some more in-depth electronic side of it, as I have a scope now that I can actually take grabs from. So that'll be coming up. But yes, thank you very much, and see you in another video. Bye for now.